Good evening and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Blue Forex Academy. If this is the first time, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Today, it's going to be very short. We are going to forecast what could happen this week regarding the Forex markets. And a whole lot happened last week already. So most traders are really being tactical this week. Sure. So we are here to let you know what is about to happen this week with regards to some pairs that we need to know. We'll talk about what happened last week, especially the fundamentals or the economic events that happened in the US. That is the data on jobs, popularly known as NFP. Yes. So NFP came in on Friday and a whole lot of things changed regarding the direction of the DXY or the dollar index. So NFP has really shown that the dollar must change its direction to the downside, and you can see right from here. Good. Per an analysis I did last 3 weeks, yes, on the dollar, I realized it had gotten to another block, an institutional reference, whereby price was supposed to go to the upside to this resistance or to even to the other block up there. But unfortunately, NFP could turn things around and price is coming back to the other block again. But there is something I would need to share with you regarding what happened. The Fed really took things so light regarding the interest rates decision making, like regarding decision that they were supposed to have made on interest rates. So I think they were a bit dovish regarding the response they were supposed to have given us last week, because maybe they were looking at what NFP and CPI would do. So NFP has really turned the direction of the DXY to the downside. So it means that currently the dollar is very weak, and CPI would also come as an economic event this week on Thursday. So it's best they wait and see the reaction of these two economic events so that they come in with their response. But I know that definitely they are really going to raise interest rates regarding what is happening, because they wouldn't look at the dollar to drop in strength in this regard. Sure. So I'll be expecting price to move to the upside on the DXY. Good. But currently, let me open up. Currently, the DXY is coming back to the order block that was identified 3 weeks ago. So I'm expecting price to come into the order block and wait for price action from the candlesticks. Good. If candlesticks price action tells me price would reverse, definitely it means the dollar is going to be very, very strong. So we need to see some rejections and all that. Need to see some reversal candles being printed in the order block that has a fair value gap. Sure. So I'm waiting for price to come back into the zone, then another decision could be made. Good. So right from the DXY, this currently from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if until price gets into the order block, a decision to going strong or going long on the DXY shouldn't be made. Honestly, shouldn't be made, because the direction has changed. If you are a chart pattern trader, you can easily tell that this is a rising wedge, or some people call it a bullish pennant. So each and every time a rising wedge is formed, it means price needs to break out to the downside, and that is what you've seen over here. It has broken down to the downside because it has formed a rising wedge. Good. So all those who trade chart patterns could tell right from the beginning on Friday that this is forming a rising wedge. Good, a rising wedge. So it means each and every time it could break to the downside, and that is what we have seen right now. Good. Now we move on to some commodities that I have on my watch list. Honestly, the very first commodity I have on my watch list is the US oil. The US oil. Honestly, the US oil is really doing so well. But I did this analysis 3 weeks ago. I did this analysis 3 weeks ago, and within last week, there was an information or an economic event regarding Saudi Arabia cutting their production down. Yes, they are really cutting their production, and they have. That is what they said. So definitely it's going to affect the market. So US oil also really had to be on demand. Yes. So if you are an accounting student or a marketing student, you know what, when we say something is on a demand, it means price goes up. So that is what has happened. So with all the confluences I've seen, you can see on the screen over here, I have my order block with a fair value gap. I don't joke with this institutional reference. I don't joke with it. And there is another confirmation over here, which I call it consolidation. Yes. So breaking the consolidation back into the order block is a plus for me. So I picked this trade right from here, and I am still in profit right now. Good. And when the news came on 5th July, it was so refreshing. Honestly, I was so excited because I realized price was going to push to the upside, and still it's going. So I'm expecting price to come to this other block with a fair value gap and maybe even break it to $80. Good. So I'm expecting US oil price to break above the 78, $79 zone to an $80 zone. So basically, all the charts I will be showing has these references and these how do you call it, these confirmations. Sure. So on US oil as my first commodity, it has the order block with a fair value gap. I don't joke with an order block that has a fair value gap in front of it. I don't joke with it. So when, if I switch to the 4-hour time frame, we are going to see exactly what I'm talking about. An order block that has a fair value gap. Good. And it is clear here. It is showing clearly. Good. Let me switch to that side for you to see how price reacted to the order block that has a fair value gap. So if another block doesn't have a fair value gap, it means I have nothing to do with it. Good. It means I have nothing to do with that trade. So I leave it to do whatever it wants to do. But if the other block comes with a fair value gap, it's a very big confirmation for me to execute my trades. Good. Very perfect. A very perfect zone to have picked this US oil trade, honestly. Okay, good. So a very perfect zone to have picked a trade on US oil. Good. So this institutional reference was formed about 3 or 4 months ago. Yes, I could remember I picked some trades regarding that. So they were formed 3 or 4 months back. Yes, 3 or 4 months back. So each and every time, this very zone is a very strong demand zone. It's a very strong demand zone, honestly. So each and every time price gets into this yellow zone, something happens to it. Price pushes to the upside. It changes its direction back to the upside. And that is what we have currently seen on US oil. That is what we've seen on US oil. Nothing different from what I said earlier. Good. So this confirmation tells me yes, price is ready to move to the upside. This confirmation tells me price is ready to move to the upside. So you could see I've marked my zones and I waited patiently for price to come into the zone for me to pick my trade right here. So it's very clear. Good. Now the very next commodity I would like to talk about is gold itself. Good. So many traders have their eyes on gold. People would send you messages, please, what are you seeing on gold? What are you doing on gold and all that? Yes, gold is preparing to become something positive for long-term traders. Yes, or swing traders, honestly. So on gold right now, it has really broken the down an uptrend. The trend is broken from the upside to the downside, but we have something we call break and retest. So all retail traders have an idea about break and retest. So we are waiting patiently for price as it has broken to the downside. We are waiting patiently for price to move back and retest the trend line that the price broke. Yes. And NFP news that came on Friday, I see it as a very good signal for gold to push to the upside and later sell from a very strong supply zone. Yes. So I'm expecting gold to move to that side and pick the trend line, touch the trend line in the supply zone so that it drops down to around 16,000 or 1,006. Good. So exactly this is exactly what I'm expecting on gold. It has broken. So each and every time a trend line touches, sorry, a price touches the trend line 3 times, something should happen. Either it breaks it or it hits and bounces back. But this time around, price touched it for the first time right here. It touched it for the second time right here. It has touched it for the third time in the daily time frame. So it broke it when it touched it for the third time. So I'm expecting price to go back and retest the trend line in this very yellow zone. And this yellow zone is it's a supply zone, or SMC traders will call it equal highs. So when I switch to the monthly time frame, we'll see how it has formed an equal high in the monthly time frame. Good, you could see it over here clearly. So I'm expecting price to follow suit, because each and every time price got there, it reversed from that zone. It turned from that zone to the downside. Good. So before I pick a trade on gold, I would make sure I wait patiently for price to come back into the equal highs zone. That is the supply zone. That is the supply zone. So I'm waiting patiently. I've done my setup, and when you go to the daily time frame, you could see that price had broken the trend line when it touched it for the third time. So that could tell you that the bearish momentum is about to begin. Good. The bearish momentum is about to begin. So I'm just waiting for price to move back to the upside into the old highs zone or the supply zone, and sell from there down to 1605 on gold, because this is really going to be a very long term sale. It's going to be a very long term sale. And as NFP news came, it went against the dollar. So it means definitely gold should push to the upside. Yes, gold should push to the upside. So that is exactly what I am also looking at, waiting for gold to patiently push to the upside, that is into the block or into the equal highs we have on the charts. Very simple, a very simple analysis. Good. Into this equal highs we have, or I have on the charts, nothing different. Good. So on gold, I'm expecting it to go back to around 2000 thereabouts, or 191999 thereabouts. Good. Or even the 2000 zone, push to the upside, then drop from there. Yes, so the dropping from there would take a very long time, and it's really going to be a very long trade, a very long trade. Yes. Good. So the next commodity I have my on my watch list is silver. Honestly, lately I've really developed love for silver. Yes, I've developed love for silver, and silver in the monthly time frame is really printing negative, sorry, it's really printing positive candles. Good. Silver is really printing positive candles, and those are some of the confirmations I would like to see on some forex pairs or on some commodities and all that. So silver is really printing positive candles, and it clearly shows that price is really going to push to the downside and move to the upside with a very strong momentum. And this is in the monthly time frame. So when you check for price in the monthly time frame, I always love to do my setups, do my analysis in the bigger time frames. Yes. So when you check right from here, you can see clearly that price is pushing to the downside. And that is what I, as a trader, would want to see. Good, because there are some zones that are marked on silver which I wouldn't want to miss them. I would want price to come back to those zones so that I take my, or I make my decisions right from there. I wouldn't want to wait till price does something different. I'm always waiting for price to come to my zone before I execute my trades. So this is exactly what I'm expecting to see on silver. This is exactly what I'm expecting to see on silver. I'm waiting to see silver push to the upside like this. But before that, what should happen? Good. Earlier, the trend was a downtrend. You could see price was forming higher highs, sorry, lower, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. Good. It was forming like that, and price suddenly changed character, or it changed its structure to an upside because of this BOS you see over here. The BOS simply means break of structure, or you can say change of character. So the character has changed from an uptrend to the downtrend, and these are some of the trades I always want to engage myself in, picking trend reversals right from the start, right from the beginning. And that is what I've identified. And I've identified my order block with a fair value gap. You could see that on US oil. I don't joke with them. So another block with a fair value gap is a very strong confirmation for me that price would come back to it. And this break of structure confirms that the bearish momentum or the bearish structure is over. So we should expect a bullish structure next. So this is another confirmation for me, that is a falling wedge. This falling wedge simply means price should crawl slowly. Yes, I'm expecting this falling wedge. Price should crawl slowly into the other block with a fair value gap, then and break out. Every falling wedge breaks out to the upside. So when it breaks out, it is going up to 50,000 thereabouts. Good. So I'm expecting the current price for silver is 23,000 at the moment. Sorry, $23 at the moment. It is $23 at the moment. So I'm expecting price to drop down to $16 or $14 or $15 thereabouts. So that is where price is expected to come before any decision will be made on long positions. So basically this is what I'm expecting on XAGUSD, that is silver. And it is not going to happen anytime soon. It will take time, it will take days, it will take weeks, it will take months. So I'm patiently waiting for that. Good. Now the next pair for me to talk about is almighty Bitcoin. Yes, people are really developing love for for Bitcoin lately. I could see on Twitter that MicroStrategy has bought more Bitcoin. Elon Musk was talking about it. So many companies are talking about Bitcoin. Yes, they are really talking about Bitcoin. So it means there is something good out there. Yes, it is true. There is something good that is about to happen to Bitcoin. Good. Now you can clearly see that Bitcoin used to be in an uptrend. It moved from $0 right to 69,000. It moved from $0 up to $69,000. And unfortunately, it dropped from $69,000 to $15,000. That was just this year, 2023. Yes, January thereabouts. It dropped to $15,000. So from 69 to 15, you could see that. But there is something positive which is about to happen. Fine, there was a neckline over here. This is a reversal pattern. Each and every time a chart creates an M pattern, it means it is a bearish wave. Yes, it means it has changed the direction from the uptrend to the downtrend. So it broke the neckline and price has gone back to the neckline, and that is it. So SMC traders will call this change of character. They will call this change of character. So I'm just finding it appropriate to bring some indications on the chart for you to clearly see the change of character I'm talking about. Good. So exactly on Bitcoin. Good. So Bitcoin is really looking good, because if you are an SMC trader, you would get to know that other blocks, change of characters, fair value gaps, we don't joke with it. We don't joke with them. So this is the change of character. It broke this, which showed, yes, the trend is a downtrend. Yes, but this is the reason why I think people are buying Bitcoin. Each and every time there is a change of character, price is expected to move back to the other block that is above or below the change of character, or another block, not just another block, but another block with a fair value gap that is above the change of character or below the change of character. Good. So this is a bearish wave we are looking at. We are going to look out for more sales on Bitcoin, but this is what should happen. It should retrace back into the other block with a fair value gap. And when you use the Fibonacci tool, it tells you exactly where price is going to reverse. Yes, the Fibonacci is telling me price would reverse around the 0.618 thereabouts, which is around 48,000. Good. So around 48,000, it means price should retrace to that zone. Then that is where decisions can be made. So I don't see a thing wrong with people buying Bitcoin at this moment, but they should put it at the back of their minds that it's really going to be bearish. This is just a retracement into the other block. Then it drops down to even below 15,000 before we could see another reversal to the upside. Good. So on Bitcoin, this is what I expect, but it's in the monthly time frame, so it's really going to take much time. It is going to take much time. It will take days, it will take weeks, it will take months. So as a trader, I'm waiting patiently for that, for price to get to 48,000, because one, SMC has confirmed when price gets to the fair value gap that comes with another block. It's a very big confirmation for me, and the Fibonacci tool is also telling me exactly where price would reverse. That is on the fair value gap, the beginning of the fair value gap, that is 48,223. So that is exactly where price is expected to go. Good. That is exactly where price is expected to go. Good. Now let me move on to stocks. Talking about the stock market. Yes, NFP has really affected lots of stocks, especially Nasdaq. But in the long term, or in the bigger time frame, I'm expecting a trend reversal, or even a partial trend reversal, not a full one. A partial trend reversal to the downside. Sure. Because there are some marked institutional references on Nasdaq. Good. You can see another block with a fair value gap being indicated right here. So I'm just waiting for price to come back into the zone. Then I check and see whether there are some price action confirmations on Nasdaq in the smaller time frame. And the smaller time frame is just the daily time frame. That is where I would pick Nasdaq's trade from. Very simple. So everything that's outside the entry zone is noise for me. I don't bother about that. It doesn't bother me. I don't think about that. I'm just waiting for price to get into this zone. Then I make a very beautiful decision, either to sell or to leave the trade how it is. So this is what I'm equally expecting on Nasdaq. Price to get back into the zone and reverse. And I'm expecting that in the monthly time frame, and I'll be picking the trades in the daily time frame. So you can see I've equally marked my profit zone and all that. Should price get there, if price doesn't get into the zone, I wouldn't even bother to worry my head about it. So I'm expecting the very first take profit will be around for 48,000, because it's really going to be a very long trade. I prefer holding trades for long, sure. And the next one is 83,000 pips, kind of. So I prefer holding trades for long. So that's why I am so eager to pick this trade in the monthly time frame. Now let me move on to the next stocks, that is US 30. US 30 also has something similar to that of gold, honestly. It's a very interesting thing to see US 30 do. It has something similar to that of gold. And I'm expecting US 30 to equally push to the downside, but it isn't ready yet. So when you move to the to the daily time frame, you can equally see what is happening over there. So in the daily time frame, good price is on this support, good. It came back, it came to test the support, but I am expecting price to go back into the marked zone over there, the yellow zone over there. If price doesn't get there, I wouldn't bother to pick a trade on US 30, because I'm expecting a long sale on US 30. So definitely there is a price action confirmation here. Price touched the trend line for 3 times, 1, 2, 3. So as I said earlier on on gold, whenever price touches the trend line for the third time, something should happen. Either it breaks it or it rejects price. So price was rejected on the trend line, on the third touch of the trend line, and it went back into the trade. Honestly, when it got here, spotted I have not seen how do you call it, Dow Jones yet. I have not seen US 30 yet. I would have picked a trade from there, because it was in the zone. So anywhere around this yellow zone is an entry for me. So I'm just waiting for price to come back into the zone. Even if it breaks it, I wouldn't pick it. If it breaks the trend line fully, I wouldn't pick it. I'm waiting for price to come back into the zone before I make my decision on US 30. That is how disciplined I've tuned myself to be. Good. I wouldn't say price is close to the entry zone, so it's a selling, so I should join. No, it doesn't work like that. Good. So right from stocks, I'm moving straight to currencies. Honestly, this week is going to be a very good week for some currencies on my watch list. It's really going to be a very good week for some currencies on my watch list. And the very first one is USD card, that is US dollar and the Canadian dollar. US dollar and the Canadian dollar. I wouldn't talk about fundamentals right now. I'm dealing with technicals straight. Fundamentals would be approached later. Good. So on USD card, let me check on fundamentals. Tomorrow is Monday. There isn't any news on USD card, USD or card. Tuesday to the same thing. Wednesday to the same thing. But Wednesday we have CPI news on on USD on Wednesday. Good. And on Thursday too, we have news on USD alone. So on card, we don't have any news on card. Good. Now this is it. Honestly, you could see clearly I missed the first entry, the first touch in my zone. So all the writings you see on the charts are confirmations for me. The first confirmation is confirmation number one is I need to see an order block that has a fair value gap. That's the first confirmation. And the second one is that there should be a break of structure in front of the order block. Yes, there should be a break of structure or a change of character in front of the order block. And the third confirmation is I should see either a consolidation, okay, or a fallen wedge into the order block. If I'm looking for a bullish wave, I should look for a fallen wedge into the order block. That is the same thing we identified on silver. Yes, so you should see a consolidation to the downside. That is called a fallen wedge, so that it breaks to the upside. But I was so busy last week. I this very entry escaped me. So I'm just hoping price comes back into this zone. If price should come back into this zone, we'll say yeah, I would pick my entry from there and pick my profits around 1.39910. So you can see it clearly over here. SMC doesn't tell lies. So I'm just waiting for price to come there. So this is the very first pair USD card, the very first pair I have my eyes on regarding this week's trade and even next week. Good. So these are the confirmations: order block with a fair value gap, break of structure, consolidation. Then price should come back into the zone. So you could see price back into the zone, but I missed it. That is why I've indicated missed earlier entry. So I'm just hoping price, something should happen for price should come back into the zone. Then I pick my buy on USD card. And when you check in the bigger time frame, that is what I do always. When you check in the bigger time frame, you would see the real trend of the market. And each and every time, I don't trade against the trend. I don't even advise people to even do that. I don't do that because it's a very, very serious thing to trade against the trend. So with USD card, you could clearly see that, or you can clearly see that price is consolidating in the monthly time frame. Price is consolidating in the monthly time frame. Sure. Good. You can see clearly how price is consolidating here, but there is a change of character here which shows price has been, or the market has been shifted to a different direction. Now you could see clearly it was a downtrend from this side. Moving to the downside, it's a downtrend, and it came to form a neckline over here, formed a W and broke the neckline. So that neckline has become a change of character. So right from there, it tells me that yes, price has changed to the upside. So I wouldn't look for sells again if you are an SMC trader. As soon as you see this, you should know that the direction of the market has changed to the upside. Yes, so it tells you clearly that price is not really going to continue to the downside again unless maybe something happens. But as nothing has happened. We are just waiting to continue to the upside, and that is exactly what I'm also anticipating in the daily time frame. So I expected to see another block. That is a big confirmation for me. I've seen it. I expected to see a change of character. I've seen them. I expected to see a consolidation or a falling wedge into the other block, and I have seen a consolidation. It is a very big confirmation for me. So the next thing is I should wait for price in the other block with a fair value gap, not just another block that has a fair value gap. So that is what I'm waiting for right now. Earlier I missed the very first entry, so I'm just hoping price comes back for me to get the second touch of it. Yes, I'm hoping price comes back, but if it doesn't come back, I would go into the smaller time frame and pick a trade around where the current price is. Good. So the very next forex pair to talk about is AUD Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar versus the Canadian dollar. So on Forex Factory, are there news on AUD? Yes, that is on Tuesday. Yes, there is news or there is an economic event on AUD on Tuesday. Good. So are there news on CAD as well? Yes. On Wednesday there is an economic event on CAD, that is the Canadian dollar. So these two should guide you to know how to pick your trades. But technically, this is what I'm expecting on AUD CAD, or the Australian dollar and the Canadian dollar. Good. So I said something about the confirmations. As soon as I open my charts, I look out for these three confirmations first. As soon as I see these three confirmations, the fourth one automatically should happen. And the very first confirmation is another block that has a fair value gap. That is what I identify first on the chart, and you can see clearly. And the next is to identify a break of structure or a change of character. You can see I've identified two of them. So it clearly shows that yes, AUD has something for us this week, and a falling wedge into the other block, and that is what I'm expecting right now, for price to move down into the other block. Then I pick my trade upside, and this is also a trend reversal. I like taking trades at the beginning of a market shift or a market turn or a market reversal. I like that, so that I can be in the trade for long. Yes, so that is exactly what I have done on AUD CAD. So I'm just expecting price to fall as it is fall in the wedge down into the other block with a fair value gap I have indicated at the bottom. And this trade could yield more than 900 pips. I'm expecting it to even go higher than this, because yes, the character has changed to an upside. So until I see another other block with a fair value gap, break of structure, and a rising wedge somewhere, I wouldn't leave this trade. Honestly, I wouldn't leave this trade. Good. So the second pair is AUD CAD. This is what I'm expecting. Price to come down into the zone and a buy straight up to the upside. Very simple. The next one is the GBP NZD. That's the pounds and the New Zealand dollar. The pounds and the New Zealand dollar. So you come here. Let me come here and check whether there are news on GBP and NZD. Yes, Today there was a speech by the governor of Bank of England, and tomorrow too at 3:30 he will finalize. So you can see they are all red in color. It means these news are high impact news. It's about interest rates. Good. It's about interest rates, so it's not a joke. Good. And on New Zealand dollar too, on Wednesday, something is happening on Wednesday on New Zealand dollar. That is around 2 o'clock a.m. Wow. And GBP USD too on Wednesday. The governor for the Bank of England would say something regarding interest rate again. Good. So if he becomes or if he comes out dovish, it means something. If he comes out hawkish, it also means something. So one interesting thing about GBP and ZD is that I made this analysis in the weekly time frame because I've said earlier I have nothing to do with the smaller time frames. No, I've got nothing to do with that. I'm always looking at the bigger picture. I'm always looking at the bigger picture. So let's see whether some of the marks or some of the confirmations have been identified on them. Good. So in the weekly time frame, you can see I have identified certain things. Okay, I think I did it in this analysis is in the monthly itself. Yes. So it's really going to take a very long time, but I don't mind. I have the patience to wait for that to happen. And that is why one thing traders don't know. Patiently wait for your setups to yield. Don't force the market. Honestly, I've been there before, forcing trades, something which is not even ready. I force and make it ready to go against me. But since I started to go through the right processes and all that, trade with care, trade with patience and all that, I've realized that things have really changed. Good. Regarding my trading life, things have really changed. So patience is very paramount in this forex game. Good. So let's check whether there is, yes, news on NZD and news on GBP for this week as well. So the very first thing we need to look out for, always look out for your order block with a fair value gap. That is all. So you can see that is what I've indicated on this chart. An order block that has a fair value gap. So right after the order block that has a fair value gap, I look out for another thing, that is the change of character and the consolidation as my third confirmation. So right now I've had three confirmations. I'm waiting for the last confirmation, that is price should come back into the order block, then I execute my trades. Very simple. So you can see these three confirmations recurring on my setups. It should tell you that there is something in it. Yes. So another block with a fair value gap, change of character, consolidation, and the fourth one is to come back into the zone, the order block zone, and I just look out for price action confirmation from the candlesticks, how the candlesticks will behave, how they will talk to me as a trader. Good. So that is it. GBP and NZ, that's the Great British pounds and the New Zealand dollar. Now the next trade I'm really looking at and I have so much interest in is GBP CHF, that is, or the chef, that's how people call it, or pounds Swiss franc or Swiss francs, that's how people call it. So This week there is news alone on GBP. There is news alone on GBP. So when you check this trend, honestly, it is a downtrend. This is a downtrend in the monthly time frame. Good. But I am sensing a trend reversal, and those are the trades I want so that I can be in the trade for long. Good. So in the daily time frame, yes, you could see the rejection over there. So in the daily time frame confirms everything. I've seen a change of character and all that. Good. So the daily time frame tells me what to do regarding the trades I want to pick. Yes, the monthly time frame is a downtrend, but in the monthly time frame, everything shows that the bearish momentum is over. Everything shows that the bearish momentum is over. So there isn't any economic event on the chef or the Swiss franc or the CHF, but there are news about 3 different days news on GBP. So this is how technicals are also going to aid you to pick your trades. Exactly. You can see I've identified my order block with a fair value gap over here. Very simple, very nice, very beautiful. You don't need to worry your chart so much. I've identified it. I have another institutional reference at the bottom. That is an old low. Good. So I have my break of structure as well, which is the same as change of character. So this change of character has happened, and it is my second confirmation, and the third confirmation is the consolidation. So I'm expecting price to break to the downside into the order block. Then I join my buy or my long trade. I join in with my long trade because everything shows price is going to, or price has really changed its character to the upside. And these are the trades I want. Honestly, these are the trades I want. Getting the reversals right from the beginning. You get the reversals right from the beginning. You don't wait and join in the middle of the road. No, you get them right from the beginning. And this very strategy helps me to get everything right from the beginning. Good. So honestly, this is what I'm also expecting on GBP chef or GBP CHF. Then I pick my profit on this resistance. But I even sense price would go above this resistance. So sometimes it's only best for you to be realistic with your profits and all that. Good. Now the very next pair to talk about is AUD CHF. Yes, AUD CHF. That is the Australian dollar and the Swiss franc or Swiss francs or chef, the AUD chef. Good. So when you check on the economic events update to, yes, on Tuesday we have news on AUD. Good. And when else? That is all. So just on Tuesday. But CHF we don't have any news on CHF this week. So this could be one of the smoothest trades one could ever get. Good, because nothing is going to really get it disrupted or something. Good. So this is what I'm expecting on CHF when you go to there. I've identified another block in the bigger time frame, that is in the 4 hours. Good. The trend is a downtrend, and with this one there isn't any change of character to the upside, but it is a continuation of the trend. So I've seen my change of character. You could see price, the character changed to an uptrend from this side. Good, from this side. And now price has respected to break the structure to the downside, so that the mother trend, the trend that is in the monthly time frame, could be continued. And that is exactly what I am seeing. So I've had my two confirmations. That is my order block with a fair value gap. That is what I've marked with a pink rectangle. And the change of character, it is right here. Good. So the third one is what I'm waiting for now, to see whether that could happen, to crawl back into the order block in a form of a rising wedge, so that it could break to the downside. So this is exactly what I'm expecting on AUD CHF. Good. Now U card. U card. This week too, I think the only news we have on U and card is on Wednesday. That is even for just the Canadian dollar. It's just for the Canadian dollar. So this is exactly what I'm expecting on Euro card. Fine, we could pick some trades last Wednesday on Euro card. Could make some profits on Euro card, but there is another big thing which is about to happen in the daily time frame. I've been able to mark two of the references already, two of the confirmations already. So that's another block with a fair value gap and a break of structure. So it means this, the trend, which is a downtrend, has changed to an uptrend already because of this break of structure. Good. So I'm expecting price to go up. It will take some time. It will take days, and cross slowly into the other block, so that we can pick our buy trade on Euro card. A very simple one. Good. And the very last pair I would like to talk about is AUD USD. So this trade itself, I've been in this trade since 15th June. Sure. Yeah. Since 15th June, yes. And it's, I picked the trade based on the same strategies I've identified and the same confirmations I have identified on USD card, GBP card, GBP chef, GBP Swiss chef, and all that. All the pairs I've talked about. This is the same strategy I used on it. But this is what I'm expecting on AUD USD. Good. I'm expecting AUD to push, or USD to push AUD to the downside, as it is, because in the bigger time frame it is a downtrend. So as a trader, always the trend is your market. So if it is a downtrend, it means I should look for selling positions or more sales. So if I'm looking for more sales, then my order block with a fair value gap should be at the top. Yes, it should be at the top. So I'm looking for a bearish institutional reference. That is another block with a fair value gap, and that is it. I've identified it over here, and you can see the consolidation. Good. This very trade, I could see some people giving buys. Sorry, they gave sell signals, but it wasn't time for the trade to sell. Sure. So that is it. So I could pick my trade right from here, and I am with confidence I'm waiting patiently for price to come hit my take profit or on this red support. So it's either, it depends on how, what the candlesticks tell me when price gets to the red support. Good. So basically, these are some of the trades you should look out for. Yes. So AUD with the US oil, with the commodities and stocks, they are not yet ready, honestly. But with the currencies from USD, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, British pound, New Zealand dollar, British pound, Swiss franc, how do you call it? AUD, AUD, CHF, that's the Swiss francs again. Euro card and AUD USD. As for AUD USD, it's an already running trade for the past 3 weeks. It's an already almost a month. It's an already running trade. Good. But apart from AUD USD, all these setups or all these pairs are yet to yield. And I'm so much confident that this very week is really going to be a very good one for traders, especially those who have good strategies to trade. Yes. So these are what I have for the week. So thank you for joining me, and God willing, the next video will be dropped right here. So kindly, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, kindly do that. Make sure you leave a comment, whatever question you would want to ask regarding what I have really put across today. You can ask, like, share to someone. Maybe someone could be profiting from this. You shouldn't be the only person to profit out of this very um, promising trades I've let out today for the week. So kindly do well to share this with friends. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.